I'm going to bring quickly our next speaker, Mr. Bill. Let me bring his flyer on, his picture. Let's do this. Mr. Bill is the director of the International Trade Center of the Illinois SBDC at the Women's Business Development Center. As director at the Women's Business Development Center, he brings over 30 years of international business development and sales management experience to his role. He has acquired a wealth of knowledge while working at senior levels in companies such as the Federal Signal Corporation, Minuteman International, and Conbraco Industries. I hope I said that well. In these firms, Mr. Bill's main responsibility was building their international businesses. Although his role included activities such as the international licensing and integration of foreign acquisitions, his strength and focus were in developing and managing sales channels on a global basis. This work has entailed living on 4 continents with several millions miles of travel in all world regions to over 65 countries. I do want to encourage people to please go on the platform and also remember to read his bio. But with that, I'm going to stop here and welcome Mr. Bill to the stage, virtual stage. Bill.
Thanks, all.
Fantastic.
You know, in Hollywood, they say, don't they say in theater, it's a hard act to follow, right? So now I know what that means.
Fantastic.
So we're going to talk about, not as exciting as Vera, government resources. Okay. So here's my story is that, okay, we've talked about Africa during the week and the opportunities in Africa. And my message is, if you're interested, you're not alone out there. There's help out there for you. And let me just walk through, what's out there for you if you're interested in business in Africa. So we'll proceed. So let's start with, okay, I'm at the International Trade Center in Chicago. What does an International Trade Center do? First, let me back up. I'm located at the Women's Business Development Center in Chicago. It's a nonprofit, very well-known, well-established in the Midwest. We're on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, and we support and help have programs to support women's business ownership. Me, as Toyin said, 30 years in the private sector, exporting. Now I'm advising companies about how to export. So yeah, I've been there, done that, and I'm glad to be an advisor and consultant to small, medium-sized businesses now in Illinois who want to export. So I've got 30 years of experience. You know what? Let me give you a little a perspective, and that's why this conference is so fascinating to me. That I've seen it all. I've seen the 1980s when it was the Asian tigers were the emerging markets and the hot markets, when Singapore and Taiwan and Korea, South Korea and Hong Kong were up and coming. In the 1990s, it was Southeast Asia, ASEAN, countries like Thailand and Malaysia emerged and became hot markets and lucrative markets for American exporters. In the 2000s, China emerged. In the 2010s, Latin America had its resource boom. So things were good in the 2010s in Latin America, in places like Brazil. Colombia came up, Peru came up, Chile came up. And now it's Africa's turn in the 2020s. And that's what we've been talking about all week. And let me just go through this presentation and say what resources are out there to help you to capture the potential in Africa. So what's an International Trade Center? First of all, we're here to assist your exporting to Africa. We're government-funded offices located all across the country. We're in each state. I'm in Chicago. The state of Illinois has, I believe, 8. The number changes, 8, 9. We have 8 spread across the state. We're your gateway to exporting. Our purpose is to assist you in navigating the export process. We work with small and medium-sized businesses. We can help you start, or if you're already exporting, we can help you grow. We can offer advice. The people who staff the international trade centers around the country are exporters. A lot of them are like me that had a career in exporting and now are working in this capacity to advise and consult. So, there's a lot of expertise out there. If we don't know it, we know a network. We can connect you with experts in the field on specifics like regulations, documentation, distribution. We can connect you with people like Toyin with expertise in particular markets. So it's just not, it's us and all the people behind us at the International Trade Center that are here. And again, we're funded, we're here to help you. So what else do? We provide access to other government resources. We're part of a network. So in Illinois here, I can connect you to the Office of Trade and Investment. I can connect you with the Commercial Service in Illinois that'll connect you and help you walk to the embassies, at US embassies globally, right? And connect there. We can introduce you to the Exim Bank, the Small Business Administration, and all these organizations have programs for small exporters that can help you. There are targeted programs for minority business, and there's targeted programs to exports to Africa. We know we can put you in touch with people there as well. There are grant programs, grants, free money is out there to assist small exporters. We can walk you through that process, okay? If you're into the food business, there's special programs there. We know people who can help assist there. And again, we're just an ongoing community resource, local resource. You've got one-time question, how do I do this? Or if ongoing assistance, you want us to help you on the whole journey. So at Chicago, in our International Trade Center in Chicago, this is how we position ourselves. We can help you with export readiness, with your plan, with your strategy, access to networks, talking about specifics, a lot of different things. So this is a slide that I use in all my presentations. And this is what the other international trade centers can do as well. So if you come and knock on our door or virtually knock on our door, what do? We walk you through, like, let's talk about your exporting idea. Why do you think, how are you competitive? Have you established yourself in the US? And we'll walk through step by step and try to understand your business. And again, take your hand and walk you through the process. Let's talk about an export plan. Let's think about the top markets and what are those top markets? And let's try to find some data about those markets. Let's talk about your ideal channel. Is it retail? Is it an importer, reseller relationship? Can you sell direct to the consumer? Let's talk about it. Let's see how viable it is. What's that channel? We get that far, it's like, okay, then we'll move to either working with, in our case, the state of Illinois or federal people at the Department of Commerce to ask, okay, can you connect us? We're interested in South Africa. So we'll connect with, let's say, Department of Commerce in South Africa and say, all right, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody, for example, who looks like Home Depot in South Africa, because that's where we sell here. How can you help us? And they'll do their search, they'll do their work and maybe find 5 or 6 people. And then you just sort through those 5 or 6 and see what the match is. And we can help you with that as well, because in my case, that's what I spent my career doing, is sorting through partners and channel and partner selection. And then you start exporting. And there's a lot of people out there. Again, you put together your team. And again, it may be somebody like Toyin. It may be a compliance attorney. It may be a freight forwarder. You put together your team and build your business. So and when we get into the consultation, we talk about this type of stuff. We want to understand your business. Are you competitive? How do you differentiate your business? Do you have the resources to support your export growth? We're going to ask you these questions. What's the strategy? What markets? What segments within those markets? What channels? And then again, we'll pull in any type of government assistance that's available to help you. Negotiations, build your team. And again, we're here ongoing or for a one-off question. And we put on webinars as well. So we stand as an educational entity as well. So for example, in Chicago, these are the webinars we've done in the last, I don't know, 6-8 months. And these are the ones we've got planned into the summer. Sometimes they're very general and strategic. Sometimes they're very specific. Like, let's get down into freight forwarding. Let's get down in and how do you get paid on your international trade finance? So the information's out there. Well, let's just take a step back. Like, okay, yeah, I've got a business and I'm interested in the African market, but it's just me and I'm a little business. And how can I do this? Well, guess what? 80% of US exporters have less than 20 employees. You're not alone. Again, you've got resources, you've got assistance, and there's a lot of companies that are small and medium sized that are doing export. So you're not alone in that journey. 60% of small companies export more than 20% of their sales. The Department of Commerce says that companies who export are more profitable. Here in Illinois, we're the #5 exporter in the USA. Of that 65 billion that we shipped a few years ago, and it's about the same now, exporters shipped a good majority, a good segment of that business, right? And it's getting easier. with e-commerce and better logistics, exporting is getting easier. So I guess the message here is you don't have to be intimidated by the process. And again, there's a lot of resources in place that can help you. And you have an advantage. US goods and services are perceived worldwide as being high quality, innovative, with excellent customer service. US brands have credibility. So that's going to help you. And in the African market, I think the view of US brands have, let's say, different perceptions across markets, different gradations of credibility. I think it's high in the African markets. So that's something for you to take advantage of. It's good strategy to export. How are you going to grow? As you sit back there in your small or medium-sized business, okay, I need to grow. I can expand to California. I can add a new product. I can have a marketing program, or you can export. So it's a legitimate answer, a viable answer to how you're going to grow your business. Going to more markets diversifies your business, and it's a good strategic move because you depend less on the U.S. market, diversifies and lessens your risk. So move just to export. It's good strategy to export. Add to production, it brings up your economies of scale up. So your per unit price cost goes down. Again, it's a good idea to export. It can even out the seasonality of your business, right? If there's some reason, summer products, okay, South Africa, summer's December, January, February. So there's the ways you can even out your business that way. If you've got products that are, let's say, move past their prime life cycle in the US, sometimes there's markets overseas where you can send, call it obsolete or late market life cycles. There's markets that'll accept that. And again, you have help. For example, what does the Commerce Department do? Briefly, I'm not going to go into the detail, but there's people that at the Commerce Department that are there to help you. They'll do a search for finding the best international markets for your company. They're in 77 embassies around the world. And whether it's your first or your 100th export sale, they're there to help you. If e-commerce is the way you want to go, there's a whole department of people called the E-commerce Innovation Lab that'll walk you through the e-commerce game and just to broaden your digital strategy. So again, that's available. I've seen where the Commerce Department will beyond hold your hand. They'll introduce you to pre-identified foreign buyers. And when the US Embassy calls a business, they pick up the phone. And so you'll get in a very powerful aspect of the commerce service is introductions. And so that's where they can help you. They can provide market intelligence. They can conduct background checks. They can help you with interpretation. If you get to the country, they can help you sort through site visits and getting yourself around a city and things like that. So a lot of things that the Commerce Service does, and that's what they're there to do, is to help you out. The SBA has a lot of different programs. Here's 3 that are there to help small business exporters. The 3 programs are called Export Express, Export Working Capital, International Trade Loans. Again, just products that are there for you, the small business. So keep that in mind that and I can connect you with these programs if you're interested as we go through. In Illinois, okay, so at the state level, in Pennsylvania and Virginia and California, other states have similar programs. At the state of Illinois, we've got a whole department that's there to help you export. There's 6 offices around the world, and we'll take Chicago or Illinois companies. For example, I'm working with a company that's creating pet products. We're working with the Tokyo office to introduce them into the Japanese pet care retail market. The Illinois has people that are responsible for the African market, so we can connect you with them as well. And it's a network. Again, we're the gateway to the network. So I work with all these organizations, the Commercial Service, the Ex-Im Bank, the SBA. These are people that I work with and we all work together. And at the bottom, it says Robust International Trade Network. Well, that's what it is. There's money available. This is the grant program. Each state has this grant program. There's a little different angle to it in each state, but it could be, and as we get back into trade missions and trade shows and that we leave the virtual behind a bit, there's money available to help subsidize your activity. So, and there's a lot of activity in Africa, and there's trade missions to Africa, and there's trade shows going to Africa, and there's money available, given that you meet the requirements. There are certain guidelines to assist with these trade missions and sales missions and product certification for African markets. So here's in Illinois, here's what our guidelines are, the requirements are. You got to be up for 1 year, fewer than 500 employees, 250,000 in revenue, and so on. But there are rules. Indiana's different, Pennsylvania's different, but this is generally how it works. That's what I have to say. Again, it's international is hard work, but it's good for your business. There's no shortcut, there's no halfway, but there's a lot of people around to help you. And you know, I'll even go back to Vera, you know, don't be afraid. There's this network is there for you. And you know, if you're in Illinois, there I am, reach out and we'll help you as we can. Thanks, Toyin. It was a privilege to present
Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. And thank you as well, because I know, I mean, for months now, you and I would talk on the phone back and forth, like, you know, just continuing to explore opportunities to make sure your resources are also being, that the community I lead also understands what you do and the potential of also helping them accelerate their expansion goals, right? So this, you know, it was a no-brainer for me to invite you to come and share, because that's one of the things I've found is that so many people do not know the resources out there. And in fact, just last night, I was on Clubhouse, the new, you know, social app, and there was a whole room of over 100 people, and they were talking about China, Africa, and my head was spinning because there were so many more questions, and people didn't have answers, but everybody was, you know, one thing I said to the leader is everybody has an opinion about Africa, whether it's Africa, China, or US. Everybody has an opinion. And sometimes we need to start separating fact from fiction, right? What's an opinion versus what are the real resources? What's the US made available? And then how can businesses take advantage of that? So that's one of the reasons, you know, having you here is definitely something that we had to do. And over the years as well, you know, we've brought Department of Commerce, USTDA, all of that. And then I believe on Tuesday, we actually had Prosper Africa, you know, share an hour-long presentation with us. So thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. Could you, could you stop the sharing and
yes,
then?
I can.
Fantastic. And I think there are comments and questions, or let me just answer one question before we move to the next one. Or let me pass on one of the questions. It says, Mr. Tammy says, I am in Michigan. I'm thinking of exporting food items. Okay, this is the other way around from Africa. Where do I start? So I think much later we'll talk about that, because we do have another section where it's the Africa to US conversation. So Mr. Tammy or Miss Tammy, we'll come back to that question later on today. But help me say big thank you to Mr. Bill. Bill, thank you so much. Whatever questions come out of these, definitely I'll pass it on, and then we can have a follow-up conversation as well as we continue to explore partnership opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thanks
awesome.
all.
Thank you.
Bye.